Everybody, happy January. Welcome to the Seattle Real Estate Market Update. My name is Realtor Emily Cressey. I live here in the North Seattle area. And I am excited to share this with you as you kind of start to gear up. If 2025 is your year to kind of either buy or sell or maybe invest in some investment property, we're going to take a look at what to expect as far as what's happening here in our local market. We may see national headlines and news and things on Twitter or on CNN or whatever it is, but Seattle market is very specific. And those things do not necessarily pertain to what is happening here, which is why I do these monthly deep dives into actual MLS data. And so I would love for you to subscribe, especially if you're getting into the market. You can start to follow these and see what's happening with our trends. So as always, remember that we are relying on data that has already closed out for the previous month. So it's January right now. We're looking at data from December as our latest data. Of course, we always are looking to the past and we're guessing about the future, but these are not legitimate predictions or forecasts, right? Your results may be different. So anyway, what we're looking at here is home inventory. This is how many homes are available. If you logged in to the computer and you said, show me all the homes, would we have a lot or would we have a little? Here in the month of December, we had fairly few homes for sale. 1,300, and this is sliced and diced a little bit. It's for the city of Seattle. It's looking at single family homes in most cases. But the goal here is just to have this consistently showing us a trend. If you're in Bellevue, if you're in Snohomish County or Tacoma, this will be a little bit different, and I'm happy to dive in and do like a one-on-one with you where we look at this stuff. But for the most part, this will show us kind of what's happening in the greater Seattle area. So as you can see up here, this year compared to last year, we had more homes to choose from. This tells us that more sellers are kind of getting out of that golden handcuffs locked in effect that we had from the interest rate changes a couple of years ago, and that buyers have a little bit more to choose from, which could lead to a softening of the market, a decline of prices, or more likely a slower rise in prices. But for the most part, buyers like to see this inventory number go up. In terms of median home price, this is like saying the average home price. If we lined up all the homes and looked at the one in the middle, how much would it cost? And it costs a little more now than it did last year. That shows us an overall trend that home prices are going up over time. And I would also note here that the prices in December tend to look different than the prices in the end of spring, where our median home prices were closer to $950,000. And part of that is seasonal. Typically, if you have a choice, if you have a beautiful home in a luxury neighborhood, you're going to wait and put that on the market at the time of year where you think it's going to show best. The sun is shining, the flowers, the birds, love is in the air. That springtime market is what you're typically trying to hit. So you're not listing it in November or December when it's dark and there are fewer buyers on the market. You're trying to get into the spring. So a lot of the homes that we do see listed during the darker months are less desirable in some way. Maybe they're smaller, they're not as luxury oriented. They might be an estate sale home where someone has died and it's like, well, we're just going to sell it. So that is something that changes throughout the year. Likewise, days on market. This is an indicator of if I listed my home and it went on the market at, let's say, the first day of the month. Hello world, I'm here, I'm for sale. There's the sign. It's on the MLS. How many days does it actually take to find your buyer? This is the number of days. So last December, it was faster. This December, it was slower, which is consistent with what we were seeing on the other data with more homes for sale. More to choose from. Buyers can take their time a little bit more. It's a little bit of a softer market. That being said, this was December, this was January last year, this is December this year, but look how short these little bars in the bar graph get during the spring and summer and even in the fall. Okay, this is the time of year when the market moves really quickly. So don't be surprised if we go into spring and we start seeing that most homes are selling within a week or less. This means as a buyer, you need to come into the market well educated. I usually have my buyers look at 10 homes together with me before we even get serious about making an offer on anything, just to learn the market. How far does your money go? What does a $700,000 house look like in this part of town, right? We want to get an idea for that. And then when the dream home does come on the market, we start to see how it compares, and we feel like we can recognize right away, is this a good deal? Is this one I want to take action on, or do I want to pass it over? So that's something that is kind of part of my process because the market moves quickly. On the other hand, if you're selling, congratulations, you only have to keep the house clean for a week. This makes it a lot easier if you're trying to leave town for the week that your home launches, or maybe you've already left and moved to another state. You should not have the expectation of the home being vacant for months and months. It's just going to be vacant for like a week plus 30 days if you sell it within that median days on market time frame. Okay, closed sales. Again, this is showing us how many transactions are taking place. This is something that it's kind of a lagging indicator, because for something to close, you would have had to already have found your buyer, typically about 30 days before that. So if I close on March 1st, it probably means I found my buyer on February 1st, something like that. So when we're seeing here this peak in May, these homes all went under contract and found a buyer in April, most likely. Same thing over here. We have a peak in October. Those shoppers were out in September. So we tend to have a lot of things happening here in spring, as well as autumn and summer, and certainly winter tend to be our slower times of year. As far as market indicators, what are we looking at here? This is the average price per square foot. This is one way that you can get a rough idea of how your home's pricing compares to others in the neighborhood. Overall, throughout the whole MLS for Seattle homes, we're looking at $526 per square foot. So if you had a 1,000 square foot home, it would be $526,000. That does seem a little low. So, that could be taking into account some condos and townhomes. But you can look at this, and we can do it as a group or a team if you want. But when you're looking at other homes that have sold in your neighborhood, this is a number that you can calculate to see what the other homes are going for, and you can use it as a reference point for your own home. As far as this is actually below list price, right? If we listed for $1 million, we sold for $978,000. And so that means that buyers are having a little bit of room to negotiate on the price. They are not having a full price. They are not getting over asking. They are getting less than asking. And again, that can be reflective of the types of homes that are for sale in December. They tend to be the dregs, the ones that didn't already sell in the autumn. They're usually not listed at that time. So it's something to be aware of. Oh, I'll go back and I'll just say here, months of inventory. This is very fast. We have 1.2. What this means is that if nobody presented their home to the market, no new homes entered the market, we just had to sell what's currently on there. At the current rate of progress, we would sell out. We would have no more homes left for sale in just over a month. That's a very fast moving market, a more balanced market. We would expect more like 3 months of inventory. So the faster this is, the shorter the time frame here, the stronger it's a seller's market. The longer it is, the slower the market. We have a lot of homes for sale, not many buyers to buy them. That tends to be when we see prices go down. So keeping this number tight is a good sign for sellers, and buyers, it means you're going to have to be competitive with the offers that you bring. Here again, we're just looking at what's going on in the economy. Interest rates, we're seeing between 6.5% and 7% is kind of what continues to be in the forecast. No longer am I hearing mortgage broker friends predict that we're going to see interest rates into the 5s. So that doesn't seem to be a likely scenario this year, from what I'm hearing. And how this works is typically when the economy is doing great, like yay, lots of stock market growth, lots of jobs, everyone's employed, everyone's excited. When that's the case, they tend to raise interest rates to slow down the growth of the economy. On the other hand, when it's like, oh, we're in a recession or a depression, there's a lot of unemployment, the stock market went down, everything's bad news, bears in the economy, then they say, well, let's lower the interest rates because we want to stimulate the economy. We want people to buy a home, and it's the perfect time. So if you hear bad news in the economy, might be a good time to buy a house. If you hear good news in the economy, we're going to hope that interest rates stay where they are and that we don't see any interest rate increases that are significant. So here's the pivotal question. It's January 1st. You're setting your New Year's resolutions. Is it a good time to buy? Is this the year for you? And I always say, first of all, it's better to buy when it's the right time for you personally, rather than trying to time the market. That being said, we're almost to the end of January already as I record this. So we're getting to the point where the buyers are just starting to come flooding into the market. It starts unofficially. My office, it's kind of a joke, the third week of January. Some people say after the Super Bowl. It depends on maybe if the Seahawks are playing, which they're not this year. But don't feel like it's too early to start getting out there. Like I said, I always like for people to look at 10 homes to kind of get an idea. And I have certainly been out in January before where we can see, almost palpably feel, the market is going up and up and up each week that we're out. Like, this is right before our eyes. So it's a great time to start doing your research, laying the groundwork, getting in touch with a real estate agent to help you. I would love to be that person if you're here in Seattle, Bellevue, Snohomish, Pierce County. And then if you have other questions about what's going on in the market, we can drill down on these statistics for you specifically. But get out there and start looking. Prices tend to go up over the course of the spring, and then they level off, and then they go up again in the fall. That's typically the trend that we see. There's less selection in the summer, and a little bit more selection comes on again in the fall. So spring is definitely when a lot of people will be out looking. You will have some competition, but you'll also have the nicest and the most homes to choose from. Is now the time to sell. The shoe is on the other foot as a seller, unless you're doing both a buy and sell. And so far, so good with being able to do a buy and sell as the market is somewhat slow. As we move into the other months and things start heating up, if you hear a lot of information about multiple offers in the neighborhoods and the price ranges that you're looking at, that makes it harder to sell with any kind of home sale contingency. So you might need to look into some alternative financing like a bridge loan, or just see if you can qualify to buy that new house without having sold your old home, or thinking about an interim housing, staying with family, going into an Airbnb, doing something else if you need to sell your home first. But I do have plenty of lending programs that help bridge that gap, so we can discuss making that happen as well. As far as pricing, we don't anticipate like a big price surge this year. As you saw last year, the average home price went from $850 to $875, so it wasn't a ton of growth for our market. So I don't think you need to be overly worried about, if I hold on to it for another 3 months, it'll increase in value $50,000. I would say look to sell in spring if you can, if that works out for your timing. And then if that doesn't work, look to sell in fall. And don't sell in the winter, like December, the data that we just saw. It's terrible. And ideally, you're not bringing it on the market June, July, or August, because everybody's on vacation, and we just don't tend to get as much buyer activity during those months. If spring is what you're aiming for, let's start to get the home ready now. I'm already meeting with sellers that are bringing the house online in the spring, and we're, contacting handymen and seeing what kind of repairs are going to be needed. So something to start thinking about. So that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Again, my name is Realtor Emily Cressey. I'm with Keller Williams Greater Seattle, and I would love to help you drill down on any data that you have as far as helping you make a decision about buying or selling or investing in property. I do invest in real estate as well. Out of state is what I do. It's a little bit less expensive, but there's certainly deals to be had here in the Seattle area. I do work with a number of investors in this market too. So always happy to put my economics degree to use, help you guys with this data. Hope you had fun. You had fun. You're my kind of people. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.